Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Tri-Five Guide, and this is the last week here in Australia working on the VK, and we've got it all painted. So please guys, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Okay, so I've got the bumper all de-taped. A little bit of stuff in it, nothing really that bad at all. Looks quite good actually. Got the grille, same, couple of little specs that'll polish out pretty easy. In the last video, it's all been de-taped and stuff. So next thing we're going to do is put in all the bracketry in the bumper, get all that set up. We're going to paint these things black. Yeah, fit it to the car, put all the brackets on, the bumper bar bolts. But first we've got to actually sand the bottom tray over there, so that's getting done now. Paint that, we're just going to paint that black. You don't see it's in between, underneath the radiator and in between the radiator and the bottom of the spoiler, front air dam. So we're going to do that first and then start doing all the little bits and pieces, and then I'll start on the bonnet. I want to strip all this black paint off, strip it all, turn it upside down, Scotch-Brite the underneath of it, just prime and paint it, and then start priming the top. Actually, I might prime the top first, so it's all ready to go. Epoxy prime the top, surface primer at the top, turn it over, prime the bottom, paint the bottom, the colour, flip it back over, and then that'll be ready to paint. This is my last week here in Australia. There's the brackets, and there's another spare set that were blasted, so 2 sets there. Underneath that is the panel that goes from the apron to the body, you know, from the front of the apron on the car. It's pretty flexy if you don't put it on, but that's what that black thing's for. It goes to the subframe of the car, I should say, from that apron. It just stiffens it up, and we just hit this with a bit of silver. I know they're not silver from factory, they've got that sort of hammer tone looking, steely look, but it's better than looking at rusty sort of crap. And yeah, so right, that's done. So we're putting the brackets back on. Got to change these ones out, but those ones are on. Getting there. Come over here. Working on the bonnet, stripping down the bare metal. I'm just checking to see how flat it is with the block. It's pretty flat, there's no dents in it. But I've just been using the DA to get it down, and then I'll finish it off with the DA, get it all back to metal. I only get the outside skin in the middle, the inside of it, the underneath of it, I should say. I just Scotch-Brite that and paint that blue. Yeah, so get that done. Epoxy, sand the epoxy, surface a primer, and then sand that, and then throw the blue on if I've got time. I'm running out of it. Got things to do tomorrow, so I can't come tomorrow. Then I've got Wednesday and Thursday. So that's where we are with that. I've got to put on the front bar, grille, and try to paint that bonnet. At least get the inside, all of it in epoxy and primer, and the underneath of it painted. So all he has to do is either wait for me to get back or get the front of it painted, but the top of it painted. So yeah, so at the moment I put this one on as well. That's on. Just got to clean it up. It's just where I've been marring it with my hands, but that's on. I put the black side brackets on. I took off the old blue ones. Here they are here. Left them on there when I was painting it, but they're all on. I set them up to where the other ones were. I'm going to bolt in that tray in now. Just cleaning up all the bolts. So that was one thing I was talking to about this with the owner was, you know, do you want to go ahead and use brand new bolts, or do you want to clean up the old ones? Like here, for instance, right? We used the original Holden bolts. I just cleaned them, primed them, put them in position, and then painted them, right? But then we replaced these bolts, you see what I mean, with new ones. So what do you guys do? Do you go ahead and replace all these bolts with new ones, or try to use the original hardware. I try to use painted original hardware if you're going to repaint. But for instance, I think from memory, now it's been years since I worked on these Holdens, but they were gold. I'm sure of it, they were like that gold colour. Do you go ahead and replace them? Use the other ones, so you paint them. I'm sure from factory that when these got painted, the bonnets went on after the body of the car was painted, and obviously for the motor and to get in there, and these were just that gold bolts, you know. What do you guys do? I'm just interested in other guys. I'm sure there's people, I know there's guys that restore these HDT cars or the replicas or even just a VK Commodore or any of them. I'm just curious of what you guys use. Let me know what you guys use as far as hardware. Do you try to get the original hoses, for instance? Because I've seen cars that have been restored and they use them, you know, those hose clamps that, you know, the normal generic hose clamps. I try to find the original ones if you can, you know, with the clamp, with the you know, the nut that squeezes in on wherever they go. These are the ones I'm talking about. I didn't put this there. That was already there. Looks terrible to me. I mean, looks like, oh yeah, that'll do. I just went down to Repco and bought a set of hose clamps. That is, for me, is a no-go. You know, I like the original looking stuff. But anyway, yeah. Gonna put that tray in now and stop talking crap, so I'll be back. So we're working on the bumper, get that organised. Trying to get these aftermarket, these are the aftermarket lights. This one here fits pretty nice. So that's got the genuine GM lens on an aftermarket housing with aftermarket indicator, side indicator. And yeah, so, and we use the, you know, obviously we use the new rubber and we just put a little bit of silicone on the outside so it's squeezed out, and then we just clean around it. You can't really tell, just to stop any water, because people complain that the aftermarket ones leak. But yeah, well, check that the housing guys, when you buy these, they're like got a bow in them. So what we did was, and I should have probably videoed it, but we heated up this area and just lifted it up, like made it square, because there was dips in them. So we got them all square. So all these were square. If you don't, like there was a dip on the bottom of that, there was a dip on the bottom of that. So we got them all nice and square. So the housing would fit. Sorry, the lens would fit without, you know, without having to try to pry them together, if you know what I mean. So we did that, and it come up well. A little bit of silicone and put it in, clean up the silicone, and you can't tell that we've done that. So OEM headlight with the Holden, you know, the imprint here on aftermarket housing, and you can buy stickers for them too that sit in here. You know, the original, is it Hella? I think it was made by Hella, these headlights, but you know, it's not, but you know, but this side I'm fighting with. I'm gonna have to do something. I might have to modify, you can see by all this here, but I might have to do some bending, some modifications, so that'll fit nice. So I don't see that being a big problem, but I mean, this is just sitting here, right? But that sits way better than the other side. So, I mean, I'll just fandangle that one a bit and get that right. Yeah, like I said, I put the trim on here, pushed it down. I didn't go, when I painted these, I sanded them, primed them, and then painted them. And I didn't paint that black sort of rubber thing. I just painted the black on that, and I used trim black on that. It seemed like it was the closest sort of colour. So that's what I did with that, and I think it looks good. Yeah, so putting all the brackets on, get all them done, put the bumper on, and then I've got to line up, once I put the bumper on, which I'll just show you later when I get to that stage, I could put the grille on, because I forgot to mark the holes when I painted that. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to do some marking, so you know, to get the holes in the right spot for these two clips here that go in here for the screws. So that's got to be done. Got the tray going in. I can do that before the bumper bar goes on. Yeah, we're going to try to get this done. I started sanding the bonnet down to take the original black off. Ran out of paper the other day. I took yesterday off, but I bought a whole heap of paper just to finish it off. Go over 120, epoxy prime it, flip it over, just Scotch-Brite the underneath of it, paint that blue, bring it back over, sand the epoxy, prime it, and then paint this blue if I've got time. If not, he can get someone to do it. I mean, it's just a bonnet. Yeah, so let me do what I was going to do. I'll put the other trim on this side here, get that done, and then put the other bracketry, get it all ready, slide that bumper in for the last time. But before that, I've got to put this tray in there that sort of supports this to the actual subframe of the car, if you know what I mean. All right, so I'll do that after I put that on. So, all right, headlights are out, like I said. Getting ready for the bumper to go on. Got the tray on down the bottom there. That's all on, bolted up. And I just put some tape here just so when we're mucking around with the bar, it doesn't hit the, the guard, the front guard, you know what I mean? I'm getting some hardware right now. I'm gonna bolt up these so they're on. It's just a nut and bolt, and therefore the brackets that go onto here. So they slide in carefully, and then you bolt them up from underneath the car. So let me get that situated, get that hardware on or here, and the bumper bar bolts go through here. Through here. Okay guys, so we slid the bar in place, and what I noticed was a normal VK without a spoiler on it, you can just put the bumper on with the irons attached to the bumper. So what I mean by that, the irons that attach to here, which I have a set, those irons attached to the bumper, and then you just slide it on as one unit. And these two bolts that are here and here, they attach to the rail. That's it. But on a Group A, you can't do that because you can't slide it in there because there's a brace, and you probably notice it on my other videos, and I'll attach a photo here. There's a bracket they've got molded into the spoiler that attaches to the underneath the rail. Well, you can't put the bumper bar bracket in because there's no room. So you have to kind of like put the brackets in place and then get your hands underneath to get to the nuts and put them on. I did this side, it's all done, and I'm just lining everything up. I've got the bolt, there's a bolt behind here that's on, and gave it a decent gap. I've got this rag here because the screw in the guard's not lining up, and I want to get this height right in the right position, but it all works out to where the headlights sit. So basically, if that's sitting in the right position, which it looks like it is, that should be where this sort of is sitting, you know what I mean? So I just got that rag there because once the screw's on the back, it'll hold it out. That's what holds it out, a couple of screws in the back. This side I haven't touched yet. Obviously, it's still out. I'll get to that. That's why the tape's there, just to be careful so it doesn't hit. But yeah, I'm going to start with these first, get them in all done up. Now they're pretty much a fixed position. There's only adjustment for side-to-side movement. Do you know, if you know what I mean? Like if you want to get it centered on the bar. They're a nightmare, these bumpers with these spoilers on them, but they do work and they do go on. So yeah, it's just there's a lot of work in it. So I'll be back. Just through the grille and headlight. Remember me saying that I never drilled the holes for the grille? I wish I did, so everything will line up. But anyway, I put these rubbers in. I'm not entirely sure how they fit in around here and what holds them down there. I just haven't really know. I've got to go have a look at a Group A and have a look and see what everyone else does. Maybe someone could give me an idea how they're supposed to sit. Like I said, I've got that bolt in there. I'm waiting on that screw. Yeah, so I'll get this side all complete, all this side done next, and then start working on actually putting the rubbers and drilling the holes out for the grille. So the bumper is all pretty well set into place. I think I pull the front of the bumper too far down, just a little bit. I see in a lot of Group A's, you can see the hole there. some of them are halfway, some of them are completely covered, completely gone, like you can't see it, in other words. So what I want to do is, I want to get the bonnet painted, and so that's the mad rush. I was hoping to get it done before I left and installed. So now what we're going to do is, we're going to just hit this with epoxy, let it dry overnight. I'm going to prime it and like flip it upside down and paint the underneath blue, then flip it back over, sand the primer, and then hit it with the blue, and hopefully I've got enough time to bolt it back on to make sure I've got the right grill gap. I want to have the grill to the bumper gap correct, and to know that I've got to have the bonnet back on. So that's the plan. But I've got this here just to stop it from hitting the guard, getting these gaps right. Got to drill another hole through here for that. Same with the other side. But I mean, it's dirty. Got handprints all over it, but it's getting there. Same over there. I've got a rag stopping it from marring up the paint. So with the bonnet on, we'll get the right gap, because then we don't want too big of a wide gap here. And it's going to look like a complete car, less engine and transmission, because the engine's still getting built. I don't even know if it's made it to the machine shop yet. I certainly won't be back. I'm leaving in like 4 days back to the US. So anyway, going to try to get that done, put a coat of primer on that today, dry, come back tomorrow, flip it upside down, paint some blue, and yeah. So anyway, getting there. Okay, so this is ready for its coat of epoxy. I just do one good coat of epoxy, and I don't go over it, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't put multiple coats of epoxy on. Just one good thick coat over the top and let it dry. Underneath's already been sanded, so tomorrow I'll flip it upside down and shoot that with some blue underneath of it. And this guy's making noise in the background. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. And then, it's all right, I was just kidding, mate. And then I'll sand the epoxy, prime it, and then paint it. All right, I'll be back. All right, so I've got a nice coat of epoxy primer on that. I'm going to block that down. I'm going to flip it back around again, and I'm going to paint the inside of that today. Let it sit, flip it back over, paint the top of the bonnet blue. But obviously, I can't do it all on the same day because I don't have a baking facility. So going to wet sand that. So when I do flip it over and paint the other side, all I have to do is, you know, flip it back over and paint the top. I don't have to sand it. It'll be just ready to go. So that's the smartest thing to do. All right, I'll be back. All right, guys, block sanded the bonnet. Come up nice, pretty good. Now what I will do is we'll fit it to that, get the gaps right on the front bumper and grille, drill those two holes out that I was explaining earlier. So that's all set up, and then we can go underneath, and those tabs that are on that spoiler, on the bottom of the spoiler, they get screwed, tech screwed to the rail. So that'll allow us to button up everything, the side of the guards, the right distance between the guards and the side of the bumper. So that'll be all done. Then I can take it back off, bring it into the makeshift booth, re-plastic that up as we always do after we paint, turn it upside down, paint that the formula blue, let it dry overnight, flip it over, and paint that, and then wait a day, bolt it to the car, and then I'll be done, I guess. Hey guys, so the under the bonnet's all painted, nice gloss to it. Biggest thing is trying to get into there, into these little slots, so when you look down you don't see black, you know what I mean, like in there. So it's all got good cover. It's a bit dark here because I've got the new plastic on when we flip this over, so I can paint the face of it. It's got a little bit of crap in it, but not really that much. I mean, it's very hard because in this situation you got all these gaps that stuff hides and flies out of, you know what I mean. So but the shine level's good, and if you really want to, you can knock that down. I wouldn't. These have a a blanket over them, like a liner. So, you know, you can, I don't know if he's going to get that, but yeah, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take all the tape off, re-tape the inside out, tape these vent cover things here, and get it ready to flip over and paint the outside. I'll be back a couple of minutes. So I had to voice over this part of the video. So you can see I've put on the front bar, the grille, the bonnet, lined up all the gaps, got them all right, put the headlights in. So it's really taking shape at this point. Looks good. Okay guys, so we painted the bonnet. It came up good. It got a lot of shit in it, but not a lot of stuff, but you know, you're in that little booth thing that we made, and we did get stuff fly on top of it. Nothing like a 2000 grit won't sort out, and a bit of a buff. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's pretty flat, shiny, off the gun. All the gun underneath is all same way, nice blue. And yeah, so we're gonna put it on the car now. We've got it all prepped, adjust it, and that's it. It should be ready for the motor, but the motor's getting built. It's at the machine shop. I'll be back in the US, and so yeah, all it needs is a light cosmetic buff, a little bit of a sand here and there, and it'll be golden. But yeah, we'll be back. I'm just going to go put the bonnet on now. All right, guys. So that's it for this series of the VK Group A replica. As you can see, it's all painted, put back together. It's been 8 weeks since we started. That includes pulling the wrecked front radiator support off, getting the donor, pulling the donor off. Well, not pulling the donor off, but that sounds a bit off, doesn't it? Pulling the donor off. Pulling the front clip off the donor car, welding it on, doing the repairs in the engine bay, making an aircon car, pulling the dash out, putting the dash back in, redoing the wiring. Like I said, making it an AC car. It's a factory LV2 134 pack. It's what Brock used in '85 to make the Group A. Although this probably drove in front of the factory, it was never inside. Brock made 502 of these things. But she's all painted back together. Looks good. It needs a final paint correction, bit of a buff. I had no time for that. And a helicopter above is wrecking the video. But anyway, there it is there. We put how Brock had them. The front spoiler cutouts for the air to go in. Looking pretty good. Still a ton of work to go in it, but you know, all the decals, the mud flaps, the engine, obviously. The engine going back into it is around about 500 horse, 355 stroker. That was the motor that's in it. The original LV2 that come out of this car, he still got. Tremec 5-speed. Drives pretty nice. It'll drive again like it did, but 8 weeks ago, this was a burnt out wreck from about here. You know, and like I said, dash was pulled out of this, air conditioning. The glass is getting put in next week. New rubber for the glass. But I'm happy with it. Like I said, a bit of a polish, bit of a buff, put the decals back on it. Motor, transmission, radiator, all the hoses, everything hooked back up. The wheels were redone in the front. And there she is, guys. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. All the guys on the forum, the Facebook forums, everything VK. A lot of guys, I had most of them, 99% were just great comments on how the car was going. I had a couple of them that would say, is that a $15,000 put together VK, not knowing, not researching or watching any of the previous photos that I put on, everything VK. But, you know, it's come up really well for the conditions we did it in. Like I said, it needs a bit of a buff. But thanks, guys. I'm flying back to the United States on Monday. So we'll get back into it at a later date. So just be on the lookout for the up and coming videos of that, but not for a bit. So please continue to like and subscribe and check back. I've got work in the States I'm doing on Chevys and my own VR ute. So if you tune in or stay tuned in, you'll see me working on that. So thanks guys, and see you on the next one.